how is AI affecting your guys' work?
It's
I already saw the face.
on my
So that kind of
face.
said it all. But I'm curious because I deal with this a lot because kids always ask me about AI as well. So I'm just curious your thoughts as artists about maybe how to overcome that.
Well, I'll just give a story. A bishop was doing a big pilgrimage, and the poster had clearly an AI image, right? Because the hands are always wrong in the AI stuff. And I thought, just take 5 minutes and find someone and do it in real life. We deserve better than that. You deserve better than that.
Mhm.
Uh, and I just see it. It just is cheapening everything. I mean, it's just cheapening everything.
Well, I mean, what comes to me is if our faith is incarnational and God took on flesh, and why would you want something that's computer generated? It's counter against who we are as Catholics and Christians. To not be conscientious consumers, intentional consumers, when we just purchase for the sake of purchasing or get involved in all of the consumerism that's out there and rely on things that are AI, you take the humanity out of it. And taking the humanity out of it is taking Christ out of our faith. That doesn't, to me, it doesn't make any sense. And it's a juxtaposition.
Mhm.
And honestly, like,
It's gross.
there's so many amazing contemporary Christian Catholic artists
Yeah.
specifically in the US, and even more. I mean, but to support those people who are trying so hard to take the gift and talent that God has given them, use that gift and talent. The Renaissance were beautiful, but we need a new Renaissance in our country and in the United States and in our churches and in our homes and in our lives, and be conscientious consumers and support the arts. And AI just simply doesn't do that. Unfortunately, I think it's taking away from people purchasing original art and supporting original artists who are working to make a living.
Actually, and I'm going to make this even worse, and I'm going to ruin something for everyone. So every Sunday for Divine Mercy, a church will bring out a poster of Divine Mercy that's in a nice frame. And it's like, no, we shouldn't have, there should be no posters in the church. Only, again, I don't mind a poster in your home. I don't mind a reproduction somewhere else. But if you're going to put a big thing up for Divine Mercy Sunday, it should be handmade. Because if not, let's just record a choir and play them at Mass. Because they're going to sing better than your local choir. Let's have Fulton Sheen preach that Sunday. No, we have real preachers. We have real music. But every Divine Mercy Sunday, I've been at so many, they'll bring out that poster, put it up, which is beautiful, but it's not real. AI is the next layer of this not real. Spend some money, hire an artist, paint a painting, bring it out every year. Like, it's not like, that just drives me crazy.
So I just wanted to get your views on that because I do writing as well, and it's affecting everything in a not a good way. Not a good way.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, the
Now,
fact that AI is coming for the artists, go for the lawyers. Like, leave the artists alone.
it's hard enough, right? From what I hear.
Yeah.
So so can you walk us through the process of creating art, the different steps that are entailed in it? Because I don't know anything about art. I'm one of those people that messes up a stick man. Like, I can't do that at all. So what's the process like from beginning to end, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, that's a great question. What you'll find is just like any writer, any musician, any artist, they're going to have their own processes, right? Everybody's going to do a process differently. And for me, the process starts always with research. I like to deep dive. So if I'm going to do a portrait of a saint, I'm going to know the life of that saint because it's an encounter of me drawing the face of that person, right? The imago Dei, the face of Christ, the face of humanity. And I'm going to want to know who that person is. And then from there, I'll do sketches, exercises, and some will be good, some won't, some go in the garbage. And then I work towards a final product, whatever that final product would look like. And some of those final products are, to me, the world doesn't get to see them. They're not successful. And I wasn't happy with it, but it was still an exercise and a usage of my creative part of me. That's my process. And I usually just for the sake, depending on if I'm painting, I do watercolors, or if I'm drawing, I work in a 3 to 4 layer system. So I'll go in and work something for one layer, then a second layer, and then a third layer, whether it's charcoal that I'm doing or whether it's watercolor, and you'll work forward. And that's just some of the techniques that I've used over time.
So for myself, I'm going to date myself, but like I always think of the movie Hoosiers, where he had them pass the ball 5 times before they shot.
Classic.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I always think I have to touch the canvas at least 5 times. One of my big things, my mom always says, your work is so messy, but I like the drips and the brush strokes. I really want to show the human hand, but to show that, I have layers. So I usually do 5 layers minimum. And it usually means I have about 5 or 6 paintings going at once, because you paint, it's wet. So I paint wet and wet. So like, not just like very dry paintings, but like I do oil paints. So oil paints and lots of terps, and I thin it out. And so when it gets thin, it layers up and layers up and layers up. But you can ruin that by just painting right back into it. So I have to let it dry. So my paintings need dry time between layers. So that's why I usually have a couple different going. And the other thing that's really hard to quantify for most people is like just staring at it time. Like I'll stare at a painting for a day. I'll go for a walk, come back.
Yeah. There's a lot of think time and process.
It just isn't right. I did a portrait of Mary, which I hated. And then I painted over, which is a really cool story. I painted over it, and I just like sort of had the structure of the body there, and it turned into Jesus. I was like, oh, it was supposed to be Jesus the whole time. Oh. Like, and so I recycle a lot of paintings. If I don't like them, I'll just start painting over them. Like the masters always did that. They now X-ray paintings to see the different layers. I never want to waste the paint, because that's already some beautiful textures there. But yeah, for me, it's definitely layers and layers and going back to it and thinking about things. The other thing after you've done it for a long time is composition and color theory. That kind of just starts to come to you. Like, orange looks good with blue, or looks bad. And, so you just kind of that starts to unfold itself in the process. But yeah, so again, people say, how long did it take you to paint? Well, I said 20 years, like I've been doing this for a long time. So I don't necessarily always think about it. One of the interesting things where technology has gotten better is with projectors. You can really try different compositions out on your canvas by projecting images, as opposed to just sketching. So a lot of my Western work, I do like a buffalo with a big flower. And so I can take a projector and I can project the flower to see the different way I want to compose the painting against the canvas. And that's interesting, because the masters, no one knows this, but the masters always had tricks and techniques as well on how to cheat.